bumpy, green-looking grapefruit type things. So this is Osage Orange, also known as Bodar. And I'm going to try cutting it in half. You know what? I'm trying to decide what tool I want to make a mess of. Because they're very, very, very gummy. So if you cut it open, it's not like an orange. So each one of these bumps was a flower, and it forms down. It's actually a cluster of seeds. So if you follow each one of these bumps down, in the base here, there's a bunch of seeds in the center, but these are already starting to rot by the looks of it. Yeah, unfortunately. So the seeds are edible. The seeds of the Osage Orange are edible. The rest of the fruit, very loosely using the term fruit, it's not poisonous. It's generally not, well, there's no cultures that ate it for food. There is some minor scientific research saying that the flesh of a ripe, this is past ripe, this is spoiled, but a ripe Osage Orange has some cancer fighting properties. So if you're familiar with latrial, there was a thing found in apricot pits way back in the 70s or 80s that had some minor cancer fighting properties. It's related to that.
Where's the seed at?
They're in this brown. Oh, do you have a better one there? Oh yeah. Okay. So, these are really messy, and the sap is. Oh, no, you don't want that, dog. It's going to glue you shut. They're in this core. They're small. You can play around. I generally find it not worth it. It's one of those you do once and go, why did I do that? Oh yeah. So I can brag to the horse apple is another name for it. Yeah, same thing as a horse apple. Yeah, horse apple.
So not worth eating?
Not worth eating. Okay. The wood makes wonderful tool handles, makes the best bow and arrow. Very hard, yeah. I've been trying to carve some into a knife handle, and I have to resharpen my carving tools about every 5 swipes. It is very hard, very dense. It's rot resistant, but it doesn't grow in nice big boards. It has a tendency to twist and crack, so it's hard to get nice slabs of it. But if you find a good branch and kind of groom it to stay straight, that's usually what they did. They can get the bow staves from it.
So which tree is this?
Okay, so this one here. Okay, and it, you know it, because it's covered with thorns. So the younger branches are covered with thorns. Now, the interesting thing about this is a very ancient plant, and someone figured out that the distance on the thorns here matches the mouth structure of mastodons. These fruit were normally one of the primary foods, fall foods of the ancient mastodons, the elephants that roamed the area around here. But then humans showed up and wiped out the mastodons. And so now the main way these fruit get like spread is people going, what's this? And bringing it home and then throwing it out. Or kids throwing it at each other, but it used to be the megafauna, megafauna would eat it, but the vines in particular, sorry, it was something about like they matched the gaps in the teeth of the skulls of the things so they could bite the fruit off without getting the thorns. I read the article a while ago. It was interesting. It was funny. As far as humans go, the main use, wood for tools, especially bow and arrow. The other thing, the fruit, it's good at driving arachnids away, so cockroaches and spiders. It's used, if you have I'll get to you in a second, a post and beam house where you have instead of a cement slab where you have that crawl space under the house, a lot of times they would throw a bunch of these under there and it helps keep the cockroaches and the black widows and stuff away. Do you have a question?
Is the fruit sweet or sour?
Neither. It would be somewhat bitter and very sticky. Yeah, you don't eat the fruit.
If you're in the middle of the woods at night and you keep hearing thump, 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 trees at that certain part of the year. They're noisy. They're
Yeah.
dense. You don't want to get hit with them.
You want to be the thrower. You don't want to be the hitter. The hitty. Okay. Let's talk about berries. So here we have an invasive species called Chinese privet. This is not from here. This was originally brought over in the 1800s as a landscape.
Those are the ones we found when they were green and rough out.
But it ended up really liking North America and Texas in general. So medicinal. Yeah. So first, where it grows, it likes shady understory sort of places. It can grow out in the sun, but it prefers shade. The bark is smooth and mottled gray. It may get about twice this size. If we look at the leaves, and to get a example, and the ones I passed out, a lot of the leaves are missing. But again, we have this opposite leaf structure. So they're all lined up, they're not opposite and then rotating. We got a couple here where they're kind of flipped around, but if we look at the stem, it's actually, the stem is twisted like this. So opposite opposed. If we look at the vein pattern, this is when we talk about pinnate. So it's the last vein pattern we were talking about. We can pass that around. So pinnate is where you have one center vein and all the other veins come off it like branches off a Christmas tree. So parallel, palmate, pinnate. The edges of the leaves are smooth, not bumpy. This is important to tell the difference because it looks a lot like Yopon holly. Yopon holly is fantastic because it's the only naturally occurring source of caffeine that grows in North America. Yopon holly does not have caffeine, not edible. The main thing are the berries. No, there's two things. One, the berries are what are called adaptogens. So when you are under stress for a long time, your body starts producing, well, when you're under stress, your body starts producing chemicals. It starts producing adrenaline, it starts producing cortisol that help you in that immediate fight or flight sort of thing. So in short-term stress, those chemicals are fine. They're actually designed to help you survive the stress. But if you're under stress for a long period of time, those chemicals build up in your body and start causing damage. You know, one of the main things is they can lead to heart attacks and heart disease sort of things. So adaptogens are a class of herbs that help either slow down the production of things like the adrenaline and the cortisol or speed up the body's getting rid of it. So in this case it helps speed up the body getting rid of those long-term stress-induced compounds. So traditional way, dry the berries, crush them up, teaspoon in a cup of hot water, not boiling, don't boil them, just let them soak 15-30 minutes, strain out the berries, drink the tea. You're going to want to put something else in there to flavor it because it's not a really great flavor. Some honey or something like that to help improve the flavor. But just like every other day, you don't want to take it every day, but every other day it will help the body get rid of the cortisol and the adrenaline that's being built up and starting to hurt you.
You said it's Chinese privet?
Chinese privet, yeah, P-R-V-E-T, privet. So it's its main use. The bigger ones, as they get bigger, it was one of the primary woods used for the martial arts, the joe stick and the bow staff. It has a dense wood, fairly lightweight, fairly strong, and kind of a tacky sort of feel to it, so it stays in your hands. So if you're into martial arts, at least there's another use for it too.